child of God. You are always the child of God. And the innocence that is a major element of that child is also called to open to the spiritual maturity that is beyond, has nothing to do with age, has nothing to do with how old you are in the world. The spiritual maturity has to do with trust. It has to do with your embrace of God's wisdom and the happy surrender of your own knowing. The spiritual maturity no longer reacts because instantly through that maturity, because maturity is a consistency. It means that you are consistently in the practice of learning and accepting the divine learning that everyone is truly here for, incarnated to discover truth. And the more you learn the truth and accept the truth and question your own thoughts and question your own reactions, or even notice that you still have reactions that are that can take you over. Those are the places you want to really question. Why was I so reactive? Because I'm willing to recognize the truth. Let me question that now. It's somewhat like a child in the world that their teacher or someone of authority, which almost everyone is an authority to a child. So a voice of authority says, "Why did you put your lunchbox over in the corner?" And the child immediately thinks he's done something wrong. Well, I put it in the corner because I was told to put it in the corner. I'll go get it, or something like that. The defense. But in the spiritual journey, the questions are coming from the divine, from the spirit of love that says, I'm with you to help you question. Question, what was that for? Because the purpose of the divine as your partner in healing is to encourage the self-questioning, where in the past there may have been defense. Those are for children's games, and you don't want to play with the defense anymore. And you're still the child of God, even as you discover the teachings of truth and honesty that take you into the mysteries of the universe. You embrace the schoolroom, because you're so blessed to be in the schoolroom and to recognize that you're in the schoolroom. But the old games that we've all played in the past with authority no longer have any value. You don't try to circumvent the authority of the divine. You willingly ask the divine to question your purpose so that you can go deeper, so that you can let go of everything and rest in that spiritual maturity that trusts only in God and that God is everything that is real. So, as you're truly the child of God, you are also learning and healing to sit in that exquisite place of complete equality, ageless and perfect in every way. And when you open to the maturity of love and the acceptance of God's corrections, those exquisite corrections, when you accept that and you rest there, you want to bring that trust to every beloved through your your response and your reactions. Just imagine, that the teaching that says, what would Jesus do? What would God do? And it is a beautiful teaching because when you think about your response to something, let's say somebody says something that you consider to be fearful, and you don't even question that it's fearful, you just automatically accept that it's fearful because it always has been, and you have a reaction. And you feel the reaction mostly inside, and you're trying to hold it together until you can scream or tell somebody else about it. But then you stop and you ask, how would Jesus have reacted? Or would he have reacted? What was what would Jesus have as a connection there? And the Holy Spirit shows you Jesus in that moment with a deep peace and a smile. Because of course the truth is that the beloved known as Jesus was completely aware that this was all illusion. And to accept the truth of love, there was nothing to react to. There was no fear to hold on to or to even consider. Of course, everything is in perfect order. Of course. Why would you doubt that? And those are the words that would come because why would you doubt that when God has promised to you a million times, all through your sleep, all through your wakings, every moment of every lifetime, God has been whispering to you that there is nothing to fear, that there is nothing that is not perfect within your heart and your existence. You're the light of God. What is there to fear? So it may be that old teaching may be the key. What would Jesus do? What would Jesus think? What would Jesus offer? And then you might say, well, I'm not Jesus. Oh, yes, you are. You can't be not Jesus and then say all things are in total equality, that there is only one heart. There is only one heart. And that is the truth that holds everyone is the oneness of Jesus, the oneness of the Blessed Mother, the oneness of every saint, every angel, every element of perfection that is the energy of love within this universe. You are that. You may be playing a different game of believing in other elements that have no reality but doesn't change the truth. And you're here to be the servant of love for every beloved, holding everything in peace, because that's what you are. We never know how things will unfold. We never know what is most helpful of outcome of anything. The reason we don't know is because it isn't here. And it also is the deep opportunity of trusting that it is in God's hands. Whatever it is in God's hands. And that is where your source is of movement, the unfolding, as I so many times refer to it. The word unfolding has an, an explanation within it. Unfolding is really what does occur from 1 minute to the next. You're not changing 1 minute to another minute. You're not holding on to a minute. You're there to join in the unfolding, watching it, everything unfold and show itself. And because it's your life force that you're in this unfolding with, because everything is part of you. Whatever is unfolding is in harmony for you. It is a teaching for you. And it is as if all of creation, all of the divine creation is serving your remembering by orchestrating what is best for you and trusting in that. But the mysteries of unfolding. So I'm singing this hymn that I heard the tune for 10 years. I would hear it all the time. And finally, and I would pray and say, is this, am I paying attention enough? Is there something that wants to be here that I'm can serve or help? No answer, just kept hearing the same tune. Trusting that it will come when it will come. Trusting that if there is something to come, it will come in perfect timing. And trusting that I don't need to know what it is unless it is God's will that I do. And then after 10 years, the words came. No explanation of why there was 10 years. It was the learning of patience for sure. And it could still show itself in 20 years, whatever the teaching was. It's trusting the mysteries of the universe that everything is given to you in perfect harmony and timing. I put myself in the hands of God, only love is real. Divine grace, divine love, divine breath, divine truth, only love is real. I put myself in the hands of God, only love is true. Divine breath, divine heart, divine truth, divine grace, only love is real. I put myself in the heart of God, only love is real. Divine strength, divine truth, divine love, divine breath, only love is real. Only love is real. If you accept that truth, then you will always be at peace. Only love is real. But can you ask the question, what am I believing if I'm not aware that only love is real? Who is it that's thinking? And who is it that's believing that those thoughts are real? It's a very humbling place, purposefully, it's humbling to, and I spoke to this the other day, to really enjoy the realization that you've made it all up. And to enjoy it is to be glad, happy. Thank God. What I thought and what I perceived isn't the truth, because by now probably everybody would be tortured and hanged. Thank God I wasn't right. Let that be your prayer. Thank God you weren't right. Thank God you made it up. Thank God only love is real and that you are that love. Doesn't matter what you believe, it doesn't change the truth. Cast all your votes for dancing. I know the voice of depression still calls to you. I know those habits that can ruin your life still send their invitations. But you are with the beloved now, and you look so much stronger. Keep squeezing drops of the sun from your prayers and work and music, and from your companion's beautiful laughter. Keep squeezing drops of the sun from the sacred hands and glance of your beloved, and from the most insignificant movements of the Holy Spirit. Learn to recognize the counterfeit coins that may buy you just a moment of pleasure and then drag you for days like a broken body behind a farting camel. that is very appropriate because I have felt that I walked behind that farting camel for hundreds of years. It's the recognition, thank God I wasn't right. Thank God. The habits still send their invitations. That's such a beautiful way of recognizing that, oh, maybe you're not hook, line, and sinker devoted to the habits of the past anymore. And they're just now sending invitations instead of actually getting opened every time. The ease of love. Every situation that you find yourself in, everyone, it doesn't matter if you're buying a cup of coffee or you're taking a test for something, a driver's license or what, it doesn't matter what the situation is. You are there to serve love. That's all that's all that there can be in the schoolroom of love. Now, if you're getting ready in the morning and your thoughts are about what you're going to get from the situation. Oh, I hope I don't want to fail that test. As soon as those words are in your ideas, I don't want to fail the test. As if this test is the answer to anything. I don't want to not hear the voice of God lead me in whatever direction I'm supposed to be led in. I don't know whether I'm supposed to pass this test or not. And what difference does it make if you pass the test or fail the test? That is that's the gold mine that you were sent there to take the test to begin with, because the test is the test of whether you think that this has reality. If you are geared, my life has to depend on passing and getting good grades or getting my driver's license in one try. I hope I pass this test. Okay, follow the ego right through that to that line over there because that's the line of the ego. I hope I pass the test. Because why? That becomes the question. Why is it important, do you think, to pass the test? Just within yourself. Why would you want to have that as your prayer? But then the question becomes an insult. I don't want to answer a question. I just want to pass the test. But you're sent to have this encounter, this holy encounter at the driver's license place. And what if your perfect healing occurs when you come back? What happens that you meet the person that you're supposed to meet the second time you're there, the third time that you're there, the fourth time that you're there? Whatever it is, it's that trust that there is an orchestration for you in every situation. But if you get up in the morning with your idea of, I hope I pass the test, or I hope I get the job, or I hope this, or I hope that, what, it doesn't matter what it is that you hope, you're you're usurping the power of God. God can't send his messengers of guidance to you when you're in charge, when you're making decisions of what is, thinking that it's good or bad. I hope I pass the test says this is the good way and this would be the bad way. But there's no good or bad. There's only the deep learning of love in every situation. It's an amazing transformational place. Amazing because it means turning everything upside down, or what seems upside down to being right side up. But it's actually turning it right side up instead of upside down. But the amazing element of it is how long it takes everyone to trust in the guidance of love, and to, before you go to take your driving test, to be able to surrender it. Thy will be done. Show me the way. I don't know. And in that moment that those those sentiments are running in your heart, thy will be done. There is so much healing going on that you would be thrown down by the power of so much healing that is going on by just your willingness in that moment to recognize that you want to follow the will of God, that you're surrendering the outcome or the purpose of taking a test, and you're putting it in God's hands. And when you put it in God's hands and you walk into that driver's license place, and you're there standing in line, and you're there in the name of God. You're there in the name of learning. You're there as the servant of love to bless every beloved. If you are walking into that place and you look and say, oh my God, look at the line, I'm going to be here forever, your purpose has just taken a little side road because you've forgotten that you're there to serve love. And if you see everyone as a problem, you're more than likely not going to be in your heart and expressing that love, radiating that love. It's not about talking about it, but it is about holding each beloved. Can you surrender to God, or do you have to make it real within the world? Can you surrender the situation to God, or do you believe you already know what to do with it? That's the place where everything deepens. And there's, again, so much healing occurring that if you were aware of it all, it would be flabbergasting, because your way would be basically disappearing, and you would be following the way of love. How helpful is it to know whether you're fearful or accepting of God's direction? That's one of the fears that the ego puts out. Yeah, I don't want to know if I'm fearful. I want to pretend. that I'm not fearful, and then react through my control or through my judgment. But that's the question that always comes up. What do you truly want? That's why that question is at the front of everything. What do you truly want? Because there is an element of you that truly wants the truth, even if you're playing an old pattern that is about fear and the denial of fear, but not the real denial of fear, the pretend that you aren't afraid. There's no healing in pretending that you're not afraid. It's not the opposite of of being afraid. To to be able to acknowledge that you're fearful is part of the spiritual maturity. It says, I'm afraid of something that I have believed in all my life, and I am ready and willing to have this healed. But I have to acknowledge the fear and what I'm afraid of in order for it to be able to come to the light. The game of the ego is to pretend that there isn't any fear or that it's justified and that you have a right to the reaction of fear when no, it's just fear and it has no value. But to acknowledge it and then surrender it. I'm stuck in fear that I've had for all my life, at least this lifetime, if not every lifetime. I've had the same fear. I want to bring it to the light. I don't want this fear to be the manager, the master of my mind. But I have to acknowledge it and bring it to the light. It's really, the fear is part of the ego, of course. It's the same as hatred. And it's also the same as every addiction that has ever been known within the world. Addiction. What does someone that is an addict have to do to be healed? They have to be honest. They have to be able to say, my name is, and I am addicted to whatever it happens to be. It's a practice. Bring it to the light. For some, that's terrifying because it exposes their underbelly of their fears. But this is what is called for in the spiritual journey as well, to bring it to the light. I'm I'm stuck in fear, believing in the past. I don't want this anymore. And I don't want to have loyalty to something that doesn't exist. This is your divine communion with God. It's just saying, honestly, I'm sick of these thoughts, but show me the depth of where they go into every corner so that they can be completely flushed out. I don't want to carry any fears anymore, any hatred anymore, any judgment anymore, any opinions anymore, any reactions anymore. I want the peace of God. I want to walk in the truth with the divine. I want to trust only in love. These aren't words without consequence. These words have consequence. Thank God they have consequence. You are speaking to the divine truth of the universe and giving your intention to be what and who you truly are. There's no hidden agenda. There's no hidden game of trying to prove worth or anything else. There's no proving worth. There's no worth to have to prove. You are everything that is reality. And there's nothing to defend. How many times a day do you feel a need to defend? That's the question that you can ask within and use as a deeper awareness. What am I defending? How many times did I defend today? How many times did I convince myself that I was right? Maybe those kind of questions seem rude and crude, but imagine that those questions are the flashlight that shines into the corners of fear and brings all of the beliefs into the light. There is nothing that you have ever done that has ever changed the truth of who you are. Walk through the past. Walk through the past of every judgment that you've ever had. Walk through the past of everything that you've ever stolen. Walk through the past of everything that you've ever cheated. Walk through the past of everything that you judged. Walk through the past of all the envy, of all the jealousy, of all the bitterness. Walk through the past. Let the Holy Spirit walk you through it, because the Holy Spirit will only show you what is in your way. And it's not to rub your nose in it, it's to for you to be able to recognize that it's all made up, that it's an illusion of your mind, that you believed all those things were real. You are the pure soul of God, the perfect spirit. But that costume that we all wore, the costume said, no, I'm living in darkness. I'm living in fear. I'm living in hatred. And surrender it all. Surrender the costume. Surrender the incidents, the experiences, the thoughts, the judgments, the condemnations, the superiority, the pride, all of it made up. Thank God, only love is real. Give yourself the gift of questioning every reaction, every thought, and give yourself the gift of asking, what is it for? What are you believing in? What have you given your devotion to? I hope I don't fail the test, would be at the top of the list. Trusting in God, that the illusion of time, the illusion of a test, the illusion of right and wrong really, really don't exist. And your spiritual maturity is calling you to go beyond. the right, the wrong, the good and the bad, the light and the dark, and realize they don't exist. Only love is real.